When making a film, planning is everything. And one of the most important pieces of planning that you can do is the location scout. In today's episode, we're going to tell you what a location scout is, what you can do to prepare for one, and why they're so important. Welcome back to the Wild 7 Studios Backlot. If you're new to the channel, make sure and hit that subscribe button down below. It does us a lot of help, helps us bring out new content like this. We have some exciting new videos coming up for you guys really soon, so hope you subscribe and check those out. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about location scouts. We're going to go over what a location scout is and why they're really important. I decided to put this episode together because very recently Wild 7 Studios got asked to co-produce a feature film. We're going to show you some BTS from that. We're going to show you some of the making up from that. We're going to go into a lot of the details about that. It's a really exciting project. We have a legend of cinema in the film. He's a star. A lot of you will recognize him right off the bat. I don't want to give any spoilers yet, so you have to subscribe and stay tuned to the channel to see who it is, who's the legend in our upcoming Wild 7 co-production. But we're really excited. This is going to be a really fun movie. Just to give you guys a little hint, the title of the film is going to be called Stray Cats. It's directed by this amazing director named Eric Bordella, who we met here at Wild 7 Studios, shot by this amazing cinematographer named Carol Kim. They're a really fantastic team, and us at Wild 7 Studios, we're really happy to team up with them and get to collaborate with them on this really cool film. It's got tons of Wild 7 elements and energy to it, so it was a match made in heaven or hell, whichever way you want to look at it. But yeah, so recently, after I signed on to be a co-producer on this film, one of the first things we did was take a location scout up to one of our main filming locations, which happened to be Tranquility Ranch up in Santa Clarita. For those of you who don't know, Santa Clarita in Southern California is called Canyon Country. There's a lot of filming ranches out there. It's very deserty, very hilly. It's about an hour north of Los Angeles. So it's outside of the city. You avoid a lot of traffic, a lot of cars. It definitely doesn't look like Los Angeles, but it's really close and not far away. The director chose this location because he had scouted here before, and I believe he actually directed a couple music videos at the location. But the ranch itself was really fantastic, and the people who run Tranquility Ranch are amazing. I'm going to put a link below. I don't normally do this, but I'm going to put a link to the ranch for them. The location manager who we dealt with the whole time, Scott, he's an amazing guy, really fantastic people, great ranch. I have nothing but good things to say about them and that location. Can't wait to shoot there again. But for this film, we decided to take a location scout, walk through the film, go through everything. But before we get into that, I'll let you guys know, what is a location scout? So it really is as simple as it sounds. A location scout is you going out to scout the location. But it's a little more advanced, a little more nuanced than that. You want to go out there with the script. You want to bring and be aware of the scenes you're filming, how much time you're going to need, all that stuff. When you go on a location scout, it's not just to go look around. There's actually some things you should do and some due diligence you should put in beforehand. I've done location scouts as a director, as a producer, and as a cinematographer. And when I'm working in either one of or in any of those positions, the location scout is different. It really is. I'm looking for different things depending on which position I'm filling. On Stray Cats as a producer, it was a little bit different, and I would say almost a little bit easier. I'm not looking for such specific things like shots, framing, stuff like that. As a producer, when I'm on a location scout, the things I'm concerned with and worried about are parking, are load-in. Where can we park trucks? Where can we park equipment? Where can we stage equipment? All that kind of stuff is really important. Traditionally, you'll bring an AD along with you. On this film, we did have our AD along with us for the tech scout. So that was a really fantastic help. He's a fantastic, really experienced AD. So he was able to whip the crew into place real fast and had everything figured out right away. But yeah, parking is a big one where you're going to stage things. Restrooms, that's another big part of the location scout. Where are the restrooms? How long is it going to take cast and crew to get back and forth from the restrooms? Makeup, that's another one. Makeup often needs running sinks. They need water. They need vanities. They need mirrors. They need those kinds of creature comforts that we kind of take for granted, but they're important for those departments. So you have to think about, all right, where is that? Where is that in relation to our shoe? Is that going to affect our shoe? For Tranquility, it's a big ranch. It's a really, really big property. And the main base camp was part of a guest house. So we had to actually consider how long is it going to take to get our talent from the base camp all the way up to where we're filming, which was up the hill for certain days. So all that has to be taken into consideration when you're planning your film and planning out your days. Because if you think, okay, we'll just do this in 5 minutes and 5 minutes there, 5 minutes there. No, that's not going to add up. Things take a lot longer than you think they're going to take. So when you're on set, maybe walk it out and walk it at a normal pace. Don't walk it at a fast pace. Don't sprint, don't hustle, because you can't assume everyone's going to sprint and everyone's going to hustle. You kind of have to assume they're going to take their time and people are going to be kind of focused on their job. They're not really concerned about other people's jobs. So keep that in mind. The timing of these things is going to be a little tricky. You're going to have to be aware of the pace and where things are. If you could stage things closer, that's even better. On this shoot, we had a grip truck. We were able to basically load up our grip truck and move our grip truck wherever we needed to film. So lights, stands, all those big heavy things, sandbags, that stuff was really easy to move. I drive a pickup truck. So we used my pickup truck to load in camera gear and camera crew to move them around. So we just kind of put things in the bed of the truck, made it as safe as possible, secured things, and then we would just move it from one location to another. For scouts, and this is just a tip in general of filming, try not to have too many moves in a day if you don't have to. If you could lock into one location and stay at one place, that's always best, but it's not always possible. There was a few days where we had to move around here because of schedules of actors that we had, talent that came in and had to go out. So there were certain days where we had to film up the hill and then down the hill and then back up the hill later on. So you want to try to avoid that. Those are time killers, but sometimes they're just not avoidable. If I am a cinematographer on a tech scout, it's a little bit different. One of the big things I do as a cinematographer when I'm on a scout, or even a director actually, is I pull out my app. And I have this one app called Sunsetter, or Sunseeker, excuse me. And the Sunseeker app allows me to track the sun. So if I'm filming outside or in a building or a house or a location that has lots of windows, I'm able to actually check where the sun is, the path of the sun, where it's going to be on the day of filming, all that good stuff. So when we're there on the location scout, we can actually talk about, all right, the sun is going to be right here at this time of day, so it might not be good to film this, but we can film facing this other direction. Or we can film these scenes here first and then move out here because the sun will be in the right place around 5 in the evening. So that's one of the big concerns with me as a cinematographer is the sun. It's always moving. It's constantly in motion. So you have to be aware of that and then play into that. The other big thing I think about as a cinematographer when I'm on tech scouts is outlets, power. Where am I going to get juice from? Am I going to need to bring generators? Am I going to need to hire out a truck possibly even? Like sometimes you need big lights and you're going to have to get a truck with a massive generator. So all that is to be considered. Tranquility Ranch is an amazing location. Scott, the location manager, has it rigged up all over the place. So there's outlets not too far away. If you have a couple 100 feet of stinger, it's pretty easy to run power. They've also got a mechanic shop. So they're used to tools and equipment that takes a lot of juice. So we never had any issues on this shoot or during production with power at all. Great location. One of the benefits of that. But that is something you do have to consider at certain locations that you film at. Here in Southern California, we filmed at a handful of locations that are quite old. Last year for April Mendoza's The Vampire, we filmed at this really cool Victorian house in Riverside, California. And the house we filmed there is actually the first and oldest house in Riverside, California. So as you could imagine, the electrical is over 100 years old. We couldn't plug in lights everywhere we wanted to plug in lights. We had to be a little creative. We had to bring a generator. We had to think about these things. And I had to consider all these things ahead of time. These were things we found out during the location scout and not on the day of. Because if you find them out on the day of, you're screwed. That is the fact. You don't do anything on the day of. The only thing that you should be doing on the day of is film. There should be no planning. There shouldn't be anything like that on the day of. If you find out there isn't power on the set on the day of, that's your fault. It really is. You got to know these things. You got to be aware of these things. One of the first films I shot, we were shooting in a parking garage after hours and the city was going to close it. And one of my producers was clever enough and he said, "Hey, does the city turn off the power when they close the parking garage?" We reached out and it turns out they do. So that was a good heads up on his part to be aware of that and think about that when we did the tech scout. Like, hey, do you guys turn the power off at the end of the night? And they did. So we asked them not to do that and they did. And the shoot went perfectly fine and we had no issues there. Uh, a thing I look out for as a director on tech scouts, uh, I like to bring a sound person along if I can, but you can't always bring your sound mixer. Here in Los Angeles, sound mixers get hired out a lot. It's kind of an in-demand position. So a lot of the sound mixers we work with, if we can't get them for the full day, they're just really not available. They don't want to work a half day. They don't want to come on a scout. So we kind of have to do those things for them. So it's really pertinent to think about audio and the sounds you're hearing. We film here in downtown Los Angeles at our studio, and the sound is kind of bad. In fact, the sound is really bad. We're right by Skid Row, so we get crazy people, we get sirens, we get horns. We have people who walk by with boom boxes and they're just playing their 90s rap music and just having a good old time. It's not ideal for recording sound. Certain locations are going to be excellent. You're not going to have any problems. Sound stages are built for this. It's literally designed to be a soundproof box and room that's great for recording. Uh, like here in Southern California, one of the ones that I've noticed, and I've had this problem on a lot of shoots. We had this problem on the very first film Wild 7 ever made, Debbie and the Devil. And we had this problem filming this film, Stray Cats in Tranquility Ranch. And it's kind of a thing that happens all over the place, but that is airplanes. There's a lot of small airports here in Southern California, and there's a lot of hobbyist pilots who have these small Cessnas and small little passenger planes, and they like to take them out and fly them. In my area where I live, in the Inland Empire, there's a couple small airports. One I actually did a documentary on, and they got a flight leaving probably every 5 minutes. You know, they circle around the area. They fly these paths. If you happen to be on one of those paths, you're gonna have sound issues. And on Stray Cats, we did a couple times. We had to hold for sound, I would say 3, 4, 5 times a day, sometimes even more, depending what day it was. One of the days we were filming on a Saturday, and I think we had to hold for sound over 10 times. And that's just because people are taking their planes out. They're flying around. They're doing loops. And we happen to be in one of those flight paths, and that's just something that was unavoidable. If you're filming near the beach here in California, LAX is one of the busiest airports on earth. It's nonstop, 24/7, 365. That's the thing you got to be aware of. And then those planes are big. So those planes make a lot of noise, and they're very noticeable. The little Cessnas of smaller planes, they fly really high and they go like, they make more of a buzzy sound. The bigger planes are like a whoosh sound. Neither of them are good for your audio. The little smaller planes, you could kind of get away with a little bit more, but the big whooshy sounds, absolutely not. You're screwed if you have to deal with that. So you're gonna have to time more or time better or find a new location or ADR, something. You have to figure that out. So that was my quick little rundown on location scouts, why they're important, what I think you should do. I always think you should bring a script with you. I think you should be prepared to hike. Always kind of be prepared to go out in the elements when you're on location scout. It's your first time out there, so you don't know what you're going to be running into or what you're going to see. So preparation is good. I'm going to put up right here in the cards my video on what I keep in my go bag. That go bag is actually a really, really crucial little tool to have on set. Everything you have in there will be great, but they'll also be really handy to have on the location scout, because the location scout, 9 times out of 10, you're discovering everything about that place right then and there. You know, there's a bunch of mosquitoes. Didn't know that. The sun glares and it's super hot and you're going to get sunburn out here. I didn't realize that. So many different things. It's good to have that go bag on you and just be prepared. Bring the script with you. Or if you don't want to bring this whole script, at least bring the scenes you're going to be filming there. It's really good to kind of go over the entire script, go over everything, plan all that out. And then, try to bring as many department heads as you can as well. If you could bring your art team, your cinematographer, your sound team, everyone who you can bring will be a benefit. Anyone who could see everything in advance, they're going to work faster. They're going to load in quicker. Everything will run smoother. So location scouts are incredibly, incredibly important. I cannot stress that enough. They're so important. Don't mess around with them. Don't skip them. Don't take them lightly. A location scout is really where you can make your film. Like, really, that's where you can figure these things out. That's where you can be playful. That's where you can say, like, what if we did this and what if we did that? On the day of shoots, it's too late. Everything needs to be going on like that. It needs to be moving. So really treat your location scout as one of those opportunities to be creative and allow yourself free reign to try things out and test things. Thank you for joining us again. If you could do us a huge favor, hit that subscribe button down below. It helps us bring more content like this to you. We have some exciting new fun videos coming your way, so stay tuned. See you next time.